Welcome to Lesson in Everyday Platform and Podcast. It is your host, LA, and today I have the honor and privilege to share this platform with not only my sister in Christ, but also a dear friend and also a young entrepreneur, someone I'm so honored and proud to at least be here with on this platform. Her name is Kayla, but many of you may know her as Lulu from Lulu Fitness and Lulu Fit. With also, along with her fitness, she also has her own gym attire. Welcome, Kayla. How are you?
Hi, how are you? I'm great.
Good. I am so honored to have you on the platform. And today we're having real talk. And we're just gonna talk about life and kind of share just some things that was laid upon your heart, my heart, and hope that you who are tuning in will be blessed and be able to help someone else on their journey as well. All right, so let's just get started. I know this week has been a busy week for you.
Yeah, it has.
And I know during some of our workouts, we're able to have. Let me stop and just say this. I love that we're able to come to her fitness gym and able to actually not just physically get fit, but mentally get fit. Um, how do you coincide fitness and just mental health?
Well, first and foremost, mental health is very important to me. That's first and foremost. I had an aunt to pass, and it was from suicide. Back in 2022. So, even beforehand, mental health was important to me because I even went through depression myself. And through that, I think, God really just had me to feel a lot of things because He knew that, the season that I was going to be in when I'm, at my age now, that I was going to be ministering to other people to bring them out of it. You see what I'm saying? So I think, how that kind of coincides for me is that, I think God has me in a season, or He has me to where, I feel people.
Yeah.
So sometimes I can feel people when they come in. I can feel, the burden that's heavy on them, and it's just in me to help people. And that's been my passion for ever since I was a little girl. I can remember, me playing nurse on my parents when they were sick because I didn't like it. I never did like for people to be down. So I think that is a part of my anointing and why I am here. So yeah.
And she does it well. She does it very well,
Thank
and I
you.
definitely appreciate that because many people are looking for help.
Yeah.
And it's so much things to unpack. And you think about when you go to, the barber shop or a hairstylist, we're gonna open up. I
Definitely
don't know
so.
many people that will sit
Yeah.
quiet,
Yeah.
and so it's a healing process for
Right.
people.
Definitely
And
so.
so I just wanted to stop and just acknowledge that you do bring that to the table, and
Yeah.
we definitely appreciate that because we need that. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So some things that we were talking about this week that I thought was a great topic to talk about and share with our viewers and just the community is the reflection, self-reflection, and how a lot of people are unable to really look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And when we talk about mirror, we're not talking about just a physical mirror, but we're literally talking about a spiritual, a mental mirror, being able to actually see who you are.
Yeah.
So, you want to take the first dive in, or?
Well, I mean, I can take a little dive at it.
Okay.
Well, so just like you were saying, like we were talking about, that day, I think it's very important for a lot of people to be aware. This day and age, a lot of people aren't aware of the characteristics or the things that they host or they have, that could hinder other people. And some people, when you mention certain things to them, it's almost like you meet resistance because a lot of people don't want to see themselves.
Yes.
And so I think, especially in relationships and friendships, or whether it's, courting with a guy or just whatever the case might be, I think it's very important that, you see that and we recognize it and we attack that. We take care of that issue. So I think, having, even in relationships, just like my sister here mentioned that day, us women, we're kind of like it's not kind of, we're a helpmeet to our to our partner. But in that, a lot of people, we just think that being a helpmeet is just to be quiet and timid and just come back and just being behind the scenes. But while all of that is true, sometimes you have to hold that mirror up to your partner and say, hey, this is hurting me and I don't appreciate this. What you're doing to me is hurting me. And that's what I define as kind of holding a mirror up, especially to people that are very close to you. Holding that mirror up to them is very important. But another thing I will also mention that is important too is being self-aware as well.
Yes.
So while we can, hold that mirror up to other people, I think being self-aware of what we're hosting that can hurt that person too, I think that's very important as well.
Yes, yes. I'm glad you said that, because the part that I wanted to cover is from my experience and just during my healing my healing journey that I went on how a year or two ago, right? It's still going on, right? But I had to become self-aware.
Yeah.
And I had to realize how important it is to be whole and to be healed before reconnecting back with friends, family, relationships. And when you're talking about preparing for marriage and you're talking about, courting, you want to bring healed and wholeness to the person you're meeting. Now, I'm not saying that we'll be perfect, but being where you're able to know that you've healed through some of the things that you've been carrying, whether it's past trauma, past experiences. And so when I think about looking at the mirror, I think about how we have to look and really dig deep and see the root cause of what it is that's causing us to respond and react, even retaliate sometimes. We don't always see that, and it does take our companion, it does take an outsider to show us the mirror or even be the mirror. I love how you said that, because sometimes we think about being self-aware and we think it's just a me journey. Sometimes God allow people to be on your journey to help you so that you can see the blind spots, because the mirror, if you think about a vehicle, we got blind spot mirrors, right? And so you think about that, and you think about all the different mirrors we have. You got your rear view mirror, and your two side mirrors that help you with your blind spot. And so when I think about that, I think how many people have gone many years without knowing their blind spots. And then we come unhealed in relationships. We come broken in relationships. And what we're looking for in the companion is for them to be, almost God. To really be the healing, the healer for us, when we have to do the work. We have to do the work. And so we have to see the mirror. And the mirror is not always pretty. It's not always pretty. Sometimes, we may see the cracks in it, or we may want to actually throw a rock at it, or some other things. But we may see the mirror crack is what I'm trying to get to. And that's okay, because that's the time you need to take to self-reflect. Look in the mirror. A lot of us run from the mirror because we are afraid
of facing ourselves, basically. And the accountability as well. But I wanted to piggyback off of one thing that you said, back to the relationship part. I think one thing that my pastor, her uncle, had mentioned. Well, they were doing like him and his wife were doing like a couples thing at Once Upon a Time. Shout out to them. They're gonna be starting it up soon. But that I remember them telling, me and my boyfriend specifically that, before you're married, talk about things. Talk about, what do you like? What don't you like? What do you expect from a partner? What do you expect from, your partner? What do you not expect? How do you operate in this area, etc.? It's very important, even while you're courting, to know, your partner, and to get to know, what you're getting into.
Yes.
So you won't be kind of like, blindsided whenever you get inside of the marriage. And one thing I would like to even say about my sister here, she told me one day, I had just told her a couple of things, and one thing that she did mention to me was that you said training grounds, or it was, what was it? Was it training grounds, or was it? I know it was like something training in it.
Training grounds.
Yeah. So it was like training grounds. And when she said that to me, it's like basically, she was basically referring to, the what is it? The
Courting.
Courtship.
Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah. So she was basically kind of, referring to the courtship, and it's basically like training grounds. And it made so much sense to me that day that it was just like, it stuck with me ever since that day. So it's just like, during that time, even with friendships, you know what I'm saying? It's very important to even hold those boundaries up with your friends and getting to know them and say, hey, this is how I would love for you to show up for me, and vice versa. So I think that's very important as well. So yeah.
Training grounds. Yes. I repeat that because that is definitely the way that we have to look at what we experience, how we travel in our journey, dating. Some relationships didn't work out, but it's a lesson, and it's a blessing and a lesson at the same time. It's a blessing you were able to learn the lesson, and the lesson is that it was preparing you. Every time you're connecting and reconnecting, interacting with people, I'll say that the best word is interacting, because you don't want to just go date everybody,
right?
But when you're connecting and interacting with people, I do believe that that's your opportunity to not just learn about the person, but learn about yourself. You have to see, what is it when you're communicating? What is it that you're learning about yourself? Some things that maybe you need to work on. Some things, one thing all of us deal with is pride on some type of level, and that's something that has to be uprooted. That's something that we have to make sure we tame, right? Because when you're entering into any communication and interaction with other people, it's no longer you, okay? It becomes, hey, self move out the way, and I'm getting to know the other person, whether it's a friend, even with family, take it as far as with family, you have to meet people where they are. So it's training grounds, because we are being equipped to be the best version of ourselves. I think that's how I want to work that.
Yeah.
And you always want to be able to bring your best self. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to always have the best days, but be your best self when you're presenting yourself in interaction and communication with people. You think about your job. You are wanting to show up as your best self. So why not do that when you're in relationships? Why not do that when you're in your marriage? Why not do that when you're, even fellowship, when you're at church? Why not bring that? Again, it's not saying that we're going to always have the best days, right? We're not perfect. We're still human. But bring your best selves. Is what I think.
And I think you just made a really good point. And even about the jobs, just like how you would want to bring your best self to your job, even during the interviewing process, a lot of people think that the interviewing process is just for them to hire you, but it's a process where you're telling them like, hey, I want this, or, it's a back and forth. What do you expect out of the job? So why not do that in your relationships? Why not do that in your friendships? So I think it's very important for people to really just kind of, not set, set boundaries, but I'm saying like, let people know from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Set those boundaries from the beginning. Like, hey, this is how, I would want to be catered to in a marriage, or this is how I would like to have you show up for me in a friendship, A, B, and C. So it's like that interviewing process.
Yes. And I don't know why when you were talking, it just came back to me to tie things up is when we're talking about, self-reflections, mirrors, relationships, communication, everything. It goes back to you said boundaries, but it was something else that you said that crossed my mind as far as being not just self-aware, but also having those think of yourself on training ground of being groomed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're going to interviews and different things, like what you were saying, you're setting expectations. A lot of us, and I'm saying that from experience, right? A lot of us are afraid to share our expectations because we don't know how the other person. But
That's
think
good.
about,
Yeah.
when you're at job interviews. So this is going to help you professionally and relational, right? You need to know what yourself, like you need to know value. You got to have core values. You have to have expectations. You have to have boundaries. So I think that's what I'm trying to get back to is when you're looking in the mirror, you have to have those expectations when you're growing into who you're becoming and who God calls you to be. There's an expectation. There is boundaries that has to be set. Those are core values that you have to abide by. That's a foundation that you have to live by and set, right? So when you're thinking about that, think about that in a professional area and relational. Okay, what do I have to bring to the table? And we always ask the question, or the question is always asked, what are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? Be honest. We can save a lot of people a lot of time if we're honest.
That is
now,
true.
Temporary satisfaction ain't everything.
Right.
It's not everything. It's not going to last. So, and you can only, fake it so long before the truth comes out, right? So make sure have defined expectations, have defined boundaries. It's going to help you, but also have that for yourself when you're looking in the mirror, because it's where do you want to see yourself?
Right.
And do your best. Do your best. I say make this your number one goal. Always, how does God see me? That should be the first reflection that you see is how does God see me? And that is the beginning point of healing, growing, being groomed, and that's how you present yourself, your best self.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree, because there can be times where God can just literally, having a relationship with God isn't always just, I'm not gonna make it sound like it's bad. I'm not gonna say that, but what I'm trying to say is that sometimes, since we're God's children, since we're his child, he's going to treat us as such. So he's going to get onto us when we're in the wrong. He's going to get onto us when we're not following his word, or, especially when we have a really close relationship with him, he's going to tell you, like, hey, your conviction is going to show, like, hey, that wasn't right. The way that you treated that person was not right. And I think even as literal as yesterday, God literally had to get onto me about some things that was in my life, as it refers to my relationship. So, that's why I say it's very important to have those conversations, with in your relationships. And also, even like she just said, you said God is, what'd you say? You have to cut that part out. What'd you say?
Asking God,
how do you see me?
Yep.
Oh yeah. So
we're not gonna tie that out.
Yeah.
We're good.
Okay. So just like she just mentioned, like asking God, how do you see me? And I'm gonna be honest with you. This is my sister, and this can help out, someone else. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even think that I even asked God that. And I've always been that person to be like, okay, I'm gonna take accountability for my actions. I was always that person. I still am that person, but it was just the fact, it was about the stuff that I did not see.
Yeah.
And he had to tell me and be like, baby girl, like, you need to straighten this up. You see what I'm saying? So I think, even, asking God, how do you see me? Don't always expect like, I see you as this. He does see you as his child, as a beautiful daughter, as his a handsome son, or just whatever. But there's some things that he's got to take out of you as well. So that's all kind of ties in, with being the self-aware, and having that mirror up as well too. So sometimes we got to point that mirror up, and we got to be like, well, no. And sometimes we have to have that mirror flipped from the top and be like, okay, God, how do you see me? I need to see how you see me. Mm-hmm. So that's very important in relationships.
Yep. And I'm gonna add something to that, because again, as we're talking, I love how this conversation and platforms go, because here at Lesson in Every Day, we just make it normal.
Yeah.
We're casual flow, it's whatever comes. And so when you were talking, what came to me is that a lot of people don't ask the question, God, who do you say I am, and how do you see me? Because two things. One, we're not ready. Mm-hmm. We're not ready to let go of self, to really become who he is calling us to be. Mm-hmm. Secondly, we're too afraid of the truth. Because as she was saying, it's not going to be pretty all the time. Mm-hmm. God may tell you the truth about yourselves that your fake friends ain't gonna tell you.
Never.
Your yay and amen friends aren't they're gonna sugarcoat it to you, but they're not gonna tell you. But God is like, in order for you to become the full person I have ordained and created you to be, I need you, my child, my daughter, my son, to sit there and really take this in, because it's going to help you. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to help you. Now, it may feel like it's hurting because it's the truth.
Right.
But the truth is, you need the reflection of him. You need to know, because if we're going to be like him, we're going to be in his image. We need to know who he called us to be. We need to know who we are supposed to be, because the world will tell you anything. The world, social media, everything will tell you anything. But when you have that foundation and you know who you are and who God calls you to be, you start wanting to walk it out. You want to work on that. You want to improve in that area, because you want to be your best. And all he wants is you to be your best. So that's what came to me. I felt that one right there. I felt that one.
Yeah.
So
I think that kind of segues into your heart posture.
Yeah.
I think, it's a matter of a place where God wants you. Even our pastor had talked about that last night during Bible study, the heart posture and where God really wants you to be. So I think once we get out of the stubbornness, once we let go of the things that we know that are troubling us or that is holding us back, once we admit that, once we open up, that is where God wants us to be, so he can pour himself into us. And like I said, even with myself, I think he has done that a lot recently. He had to get a lot of things out of me, but my heart posture was in a spot of, God, I want you to take it all out. If it's not like you, I want you to take it out. So it was just, it was just a matter of time where, God can't make you do anything. You have to have your heart in the right place, in the right posture to be like, okay, God, I don't want it. I don't want to do it out of my own might anymore. I don't want to operate in my business like that no more. Right. I want to be like you. And so that's another rabbit hole I could go into, but yeah.
Well, so to sum it all up, today this would not be our last time together. And we are in Lulu's Fitness Center, so we're so blessed to have this opportunity to be here and to see what God is doing in your life. But we do want to sum up and just let you know that this message is just to help you, encourage you, inspire you, and uplift you, and challenge you to become the best you can be, to look in the mirror. You guys, it's time. It's now or never, okay? I'm not going to say now or never. I just like how it sounded,
Yeah.
but what better time than now? I would say that. What better time than now to really reflect and really just take time to look in the mirror. Take time to self-reflect and grow, self-develop, personal development, grow. It's all about growth because we're human, and as long as we got breath in our body, there's always something that we can learn.
Yeah,
always something.
Definitely so.
So I'm gonna let you, if you have any remaining remarks you want to share.
I just think that with me and my sister here, I think that this is nothing but divine connection. We met. I'll just tell a little bit about how we met, okay. Which is so crazy. But me and her, we met. So I had not recently, but I was going to a church. Originally, I was introduced to this church through my dad, and I started was going, and one day her mom came to me and said, "Hey, my daughter LaToya said that she wanted to, just kind of team up with you a little bit and do some workouts." So I was like, okay, just tell her, I'm here. And so eventually we got in contact, and you guys, our first session that we had together, I was like, oh my God, like my mind is blown away, because it was just like I had been praying for those divine connections, and I had been praying for God to send me people into my life that was, like-minded and that can push me, and that's not always like a yes person, you know what I'm saying, that people that God knew what I needed. So just like I said, that first day that we even, at first, of course, we was like, because me and her both, like, the way we look at friendships, it's just kind of like, we have the same views on friendships. Right. So it was like, how we met, it made so much sense when we finally talked about it. But I just thank God for, even this divine connection. So truly and honestly.
And that'll have to be another topic another day.
Definitely
but
so.
You definitely in this season, in this time, have to have to pray for the right connections, to be in alignment in your season and alignment to your assignment. Because we're all responsible for someone else's soul, someone else's life, and every connection you make, you should leave that connection or the person you're connecting, interact with, in a better place than you found them. That's something that was just dropped to me. So you always want to make sure you make the positive impact. And it's difficult sometimes because some people are just difficult. Okay. But you love them anyway. And I say that because, along my journey, I had to love anyway. Even those that seem unlovable. But yes, divine, you have to know who God is sending your way. And I would say what I had to learn is that, and this may sound so crazy because I'm just learning these in the later years of my life, but there's always people that's either there for a season, a reason, or a lifetime.
Right.
Yep. And so at the end of the day, just know, your time in someone's life, and know if you're bringing purpose. Are you pushing them to purpose, or are you draining them? Don't be a leech, okay? But love anyway, okay? And we just really appreciate you. Again, I want to say, Kayla, thank you so much for joining us on this platform. Honestly, it's really an honor. And this is something I've wanted. I've always wanted, like, hey, let me have an opportunity to just share the platform with someone. And share it where people just, I know you guys like hearing my voice and maybe you don't, I don't know. But it's good to have other people that we can talk talk about, like life, you know what I mean? Because we don't get that a lot. Right. And our generation, we need it. We all need, definitely. We need it. Definitely. So we appreciate you being here on Listening Every Day. And to everyone that's viewing or listening, we just thank you for joining us on this platform. Stay tuned for new and more episodes that will be coming when we are colliding and collaborating. But we love you, and always learn to live and live to learn. God bless you wherever you are. Take care.